Hello, I am Clea Annecchiarico and this is Clea's World. Welcome and thank you for watching. Today, I'd like to tell you about something funny that's happened to me very recently, and that has given me a new perspective on some of the things I've been wondering about. So I wanted to share this with you. It was a breakthrough, and it was quite interesting how the breakthrough came about. So I would love to hear your feedback if this is something that's ever happened to you. So before we move forward, I'd like to ask you to please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And please do leave me a comment, because I do find this notion very interesting that I'll be explaining about. So I would love to hear if this resonates with you. So let me tell you what's happened. I am the treasurer on the board of a nonprofit organization that deals with literature. And we showcase authors and poets, and we also have readers events where we have readings by the authors of certain books. It's quite an interesting organization. We have been publishing this literary magazine since the 70s. I have served on this board for 2.5 years now, probably almost 3 years. And I've enjoyed it, and even though there have been ups and downs. And so I was getting ready to leave the board because I've been here for a while, and I'm getting busier in my daily life. So I decided that I was going to leave. But last June, the old board, or a lot of people from the old board that I'd been serving with, retired. They gave us months of notice. So when they retired, we got new board members on, and 3 new board members. And so I decided that I was going to stay a little bit longer to make sure that the board was stable before I left. So just to provide continuity. So waiting for this to happen, and all of a sudden in November, we lose our editor-in-chief. So we had to find a new editor-in-chief. We finally find a new editor-in-chief who is great last month. And so I'm getting ready to retire, quote unquote, this month. And all of a sudden, last week, we get 3 resignations all on the same night. Not only, these are not resignations like you would normally have from, professional manner, where you say, hey, I'm going to retire in a month, in 2 months, so I'm going to help you find a replacement, or I want to make sure there's continuity so nothing falls apart because we might be in the middle of projects, which we are. They literally left as if this were some kind of McDonald's job. Like, oh, by the way, I'm leaving as of today. In fact, we only got 2 resignations out of 3. The third person didn't even tell us. Now, these are what you would expect professional, what you would consider a professional people. These are not people that we found, these are our teenagers, and they technically have some background. A couple of these people are even retired. They've been around the block. They might have served on different boards. So I was in shock. One, I was so upset. I'm like, here I am waiting for everybody to get comfortable, and basically giving them rolling my notice as long as it takes for the board to be stable. And these people just came and went, and they couldn't care less. It's like there is an expression in French that will translate to English and hopefully gives you the idea. There's this expression says, after me, the deluge, meaning that I don't care what happens after me. When I'm gone, there could be a flood. It doesn't really make any difference to me. And basically, this is how it feels. It feels like these people were like, okay, I'm done, bye. Not only they all left on the same day, because they all coordinated this, almost like really couldn't care less what happens to this venerable association that's been around for 50 years. They're like, okay, now we're here, so yeah, we're just gonna crash. And for all they know, they could have. We could have been left without a board. So why am I telling you this? Because this is stuff that happens. I'm sure many of you, if you've not been in the same exact situation, have been in a similar situation. Similar situation even happened to me a few months ago, not even that long ago, but basically in December, the day before Christmas Eve, after school had already been let out. For example, my daughter's teacher let us know that after much soul searching, she had decided that she was not going to come back in January to teach. And she completely left us stranded. Not only she couldn't finish the year, which ends in May, so I don't understand why that was such a priority. She had no emergency going on. She just decided she wasn't going to come back. She was going to try something new. But also she didn't even offer to wait until we had a substitute teacher. She literally was like, well, I'm done, and screw all the families that have a problem. So having gone through this is the funny thing that happened that I was not expecting. I went to bed last week after those notices, or even lack of notices, of these resignations, and I was quite upset. I was so upset that I continue waking myself up every 20-30 minutes, and this was my cat jumping on the table, sorry about the shaking, that I would wake myself up and remember this, and then go back to sleep, and then wake myself up again remembering what had happened. It was like an issue on the back of my mind that absolutely needed to be resolved, and that's what it is. We have to resolve it. But then in the morning, I had this dream. In the dream, and it was quite a long dream, but I'll just tell you the first scene of it. I am on the ground floor of a mall. It's almost like a hotel. It could be a hotel or a mall, but it's a huge area, hall. And I am about 20 feet away from a bunch of elevators. And I'm just walking in the middle of the hallway, and then I see the elevators to my right. So I'm looking at the elevators to my right, and all of a sudden I see this lady, and she has a beautiful lab, golden lab, on her leash, and beautiful dog, sweet. I love dogs, and labs are wonderful. And the lady herself is not much bigger than her dog. I mean, she's small in stature, like, you know, I'm not that tall, so probably as tall as I am. And so the dog is really big compared to her. And she has a blonde hair, really golden blonde hair to her shoulders, and blue eyes. Basically, she looks almost like her dog, because you probably know this is a running joke that a lot of dog owners, after a while, they end up looking like their dogs. So she was like the perfect golden lab owner. She almost looked like a golden herself. And so I'm looking at this scene, and all of a sudden the dog looks at the floor while they're waiting for the elevator to arrive. The dog looks at the floor and starts licking the floor, which is like, whatever. I mean, dogs do all kinds of strange things, right? And all of a sudden, I see this blonde lady look at me, like she throws me a look. She looks at me with a little bit of a smirk. She turns around, and then she kneels. She goes on all fours on the floor. She puts her head down, and she starts licking the floor, just like her dog. Now, I was cracking up in the dream. There were several scenes like this to bring home this point, which they made in the dream. I actually woke up even cracking up, because I couldn't believe it. Here was the message that was coming through. That there are people who look like people, but inside they're really dogs. And now I know that dogs in our society, in the general language, it means it's a bad thing. That's not how they meant it. They literally meant it as if that lady was a golden lab in the shape of a person. And that's what they were trying to say. So these are dogs who are people, who look like people. Let's put it that way, so there is no negative connotation. And what they meant by that is that they have no understanding of anything else outside of the urge that they have at the moment. So this woman had the urge to lick the floor, just like her dog, and that's what she did. So when a dog, for example, goes up to a fence post and raises his leg and pees because he feels like peeing, he's not thinking, oh, I'm ruining the paint on the fence post, or goodness, maybe this is not so nice, it's going to create a puddle, whatever the reason, or maybe it's going to cause climate change, who knows. I am basically trying to say all the dog is thinking is the here and now, which is wonderful that they can do that. I wish I could do that. A lot of us have trouble being in the here and now, whereas they are masters of it. In the here and now, the dog felt the urge to pee on the fence post, and that's what's happening. There is no more thought beyond that. And this doesn't come from a place of wanting to destroy the fence post or wanting to cause climate change. It's literally from a place of feels good to me right now, and that's great. And not because they're selfish, it's literally all they know. And they work very much in flow with nature. So nature calls, and that's where they're going. So the point of this dream is that there are people that have that kind of perspective. They're not capable of thinking beyond what they need. And again, this is not a negative thing. This dream was very funny. In fact, I have to tell you, and please let me know in the comments below, has this ever happened to you? I have never in my life, I don't ever remember having a funny dream. This was a comedic dream. It went on for a while. I saw all these different scenes, very similar to the one I just described to you, but just different setups, some different people, men and women. And it was all the same. I was cracking up. As I said, I was laughing in the dream and I woke up laughing. This has never happened to me before. It was hilarious. But the message was very much, the point was very much achieved, and the message was received by me. And very clearly it is that I shouldn't feel bad or upset or angry with these people. I shouldn't feel any resentment. They really don't know any better. This is what they know. They think, okay, I've done, I've given what I've given, and now I'm ready to move on, and I'm moving on. They're not thinking, oh, what could happen to this association? Should I wait a little bit longer? Should I sacrifice a little bit? And I'm not calling for anybody's sacrifice. I don't feel like I'm sacrificing by staying longer. I feel like I'm doing the right thing because it's a professional thing to do. For me, it's a matter of integrity. I'm not just gonna let people deal with whatever. It's like, it's your problem now kind of thing. I'm not that kind of person. But then I realized these people don't do this because they were evil or totally sketchy. They have no clue. They're just happy-go-lucky, just like a Labrador. So good for them, right? Of course, a lot of us are left holding the reins and holding the bag, so to speak, which is unfortunate, but it's fine. We'll be fine. In my school, we're fine. We already found a great person who's replacing the old teacher. So everything works out. But this I want to share with you because I do believe sometimes we assume things, and we assume that people do things in bad faith, which only increases our resentment towards a situation. Whereas it seems that, or at least the message from the universe to me was that that's really not the case. These people just don't know any better. So a lot of people are making a lot of silly choices or make a lot of silly choices simply because that's how they feel in that moment. So you might think that because you think a certain way, you think about everything. You, for anything like me, you think way too much. you even overthink things sometimes, and you think that there is all this going on behind the scenes. There really isn't. These are very simple-minded people. And again, no judgment there. I'm not trying to say they're not smart. I mean simple-minded like a dog would be. A dog could be super intelligent. It's still the way that he looks at life is a certain way, and that's how these people look at life as well. So I wanted to share this laughter and perspective with you, and I hope you appreciated it because I'm still laughing about it. Every time I think about it, I laugh because I'm like, oh my goodness, and it has taken the edge of a lot of the stuff that's been happening out there in the world as well, because now I realize it's really not that we all have access to the same way of thinking. It really is that many of us are just happy-go-lucky. It doesn't really matter what happens out there. So I'm sure that drives some of you crazy, just like it has driven me crazy in the past, but that's why I wanted to pass this on. So hopefully it helps. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye.